What is your weirdest experience while going to the gym?
Red hoodie guy would come into the gym always wearing the same red hoodie. He would hit the treadmill at 8 to 10 miles per hour and just go. He could keep this pace for 30 minutes, but never seemed to get exhausted. Here's where it gets weird: he must have had headphones on under the hoodie because he would air guitar and headbang the entire time. Imagine a guy running at full tilt while shredding on an air guitar, non-stop for half an hour, not breathing heavily or grunting, before abruptly stopping and walking out of the gym.
Saw a guy on a stair climber wearing sunglasses and a leather jacket.
I accidentally put my number code into another lock that was beside mine, botched the last number and the lock actually opened.
I got literally flexed on. I saw a girl who I mistook as somebody I knew, went to say hi. She was cool about it, said it's happened before. Then a guy came over and said, "Something going on here," and literally just flexed. I've never had a bad experience at the gym before, but this dude was above and beyond. Always see them together now. Dude must have some redeeming qualities about him.
A guy at a very nice luxury gym was not just dropping his squats, he was actively throwing them up and letting them drop 4+ feet to the safety rack, causing a ridiculously loud sound and a crash. When I asked him to stop, he was extremely aggressive and rude and said he had been a member for 10 years. Management ended up kicking him out about 10 minutes later.
I remember a guy would spit and lick his hands before lifting weights or using machines and wouldn't clean it afterwards. Then even weirder, he would straight up moan like he was fucking while lifting the heavier weights. It was weird and gross.
I hate to run, but run about a mile a day at a 10 minutes, mile pace before I go and do weights. I hate it so much I wish for a heart attack to take me away at about minute 4. Any case, the treadmills at our gyms have big timers on them that are easy to read. I get on the treadmill one day and see that the guy beside me is running a 5K, a preset on the machine, and has been on for about 4 minutes. But he's going fast, like full-out sprint. I punch in my 12 minutes, 10-minute mile plus 2-minute cool down, and start to run. We finish at the same time. Dude ran a 5K in about 16 minutes. Full-on sprint the whole time. I was just kinda in a daze thinking about it for the rest of my workout.
I was on the treadmill waiting for the only squat rack to open up. A guy was holding it up talking to some other guy, and they talked for like 15 minutes. I was about to ask if I could work in, and then they started praying. Other guy put his head down, and squat guy put his hands on other guy's shoulders and started praying and doing that loud hut thing between sentences Southern Baptist preachers do. And then another guy walked up to get in on the action. At the loaded squat rack, I just went and worked my legs on the machines.
Old man jerking off in the shower. I don't use open locker rooms anymore.
Years ago I was newly signed up at a gym. On my first day of a real workout I am approached by a woman who proceeds to tell me off about what I do not know. I explain I do not know her nor do I know what she is talking about, and she says very snidely, "Oh, it must be your twin sister then, who is the bitch?" I said yes, everywhere my sister goes she creates headaches for me, I have no sister. And from that point on the woman sort of follows me around the gym every time we are there at the same time. Commiserating about what a bitch sister I have and how I am nothing like her, thank God.
Not sure about going to the gym, but while at the gym just a couple of weeks ago, this guy calls across the gym to another guy and says, "I can smell you from here, do you play lacrosse?" To which he replied, "I played when I was younger." First guy says, "That's what I thought, you smell like dry comb." There were probably 12 people in the gym. So random.
The woman who was hanging out in the locker room in her underwear. She was there when I came in, and still there an hour later. Someone told me she was probably an IG model, doing a selfie photo shoot.
I was was leaving the other day for the showers and a girl, maybe 21, never spoken to her before, comes off the treadmill to speak to me and the following conversation ensued. Her, are you going back to your car? Me, yes. Her, are you parked at the one you have to pay for? Me, you have to pay for all of them. Her, is it the one outside? Not multi-stories. Me, there's 4 that are outside. Her, is it farm? Explained the location to try and progress the conversation to a conclusion. Her, okay then, don't worry. Me, bye, no context, no nothing. To this day I can't figure out what her angle was, but it was very weird. Edit, seems she was either flirting, getting stalked or trying to find the driver she hit. I'll take those odds.
There's a regular at my gym who always gets stares. She's pretty much built like a stick and she's an older woman in her mid-50s. I've seen her a couple of times doing this workout. She literally spends no more than 30 to 45 secs on each machine and does them with the worst form I've ever seen in my life as fast as she possibly can. For example, on the cable pull down, she'll pull the handle to her neck level, let it raise to about nose level and pull it down again. She'll do this move of about 3 to 4 of motion just as fast as she possibly can for about 30 to 45 secs. Then she'll move as fast as she can to the leg press, which she'll fully extend her legs, and with her legs nearly extended she'll just bounce the weight over and over. At no point does she return anywhere close to the start position until she's done after another 30 to 45 secs. Then she'll go to the treadmill or the rowing machine or something and do that with the worst possible form. After about 5 minutes, she's done and she'll quit and leave.
A woman who measures 2 meters lifts a dwarf as if he were a weight.
I was running on the treadmill and there was this scruffy guy all hunched down like 3 treadmills away and he kept loudly muttering to himself, "You can do it, you got this," and making weird noises. He kept doing it for like 20 minutes. At first I was like annoyed cuz he was rather loud and it was weird, but after about 10 minutes I distractedly started thinking to myself, I can do this. I got this. He was unintentionally inspiring to me.
Ran the treadmill next to a middle-aged man in a full Santa Claus outfit. Beard and all. It was February 21st.
I swear my gym is actually a gateway into the FI. One time I saw a fit man with impeccable, flowing locks stare himself down in the mirror. He just kept saying, yes, and growling a bunch. Then he went over to the stretching area and did what could only be described as jazzercise while listening to aggressive hip-hop on his headphones so loud I could hear it from the squat rack. Periodically, he'd holler out grunts and hype sounds and curse words with the music. I'm pretty sure he was a lynx in a human body. One time I'm on the bench and I hear 2 dudes, "You look fucking amazing bro, you're the best looking dude in this gym." "Nah, you are bro." I turn around after a set, and they're identical twins. There's this old guy who wears a toupee to the gym. It's hideous, like he decided when he bought his wig, "I'll be ginger now." But he's like a swarthy Mediterranean white dude. When he works out, the toupee wax that affixes it to his bald skull melts and runs down the sides of his head. He never seems to mind.
NSFW. Moving to a new place, no friends, nightlife, so went to the gym twice a day. One night I was closing the place down with a swim and was almost the last person in the building. Nobody in the locker room, but I could hear a shower on. Walked into the shower and assumed that some asshat had just left it on. As I got closer though, I saw a shadow. I just went into the shower stall I was adjacent to. Men's showers, so no doors. There was a man there leaning hard against the wall with a hard-on out front and one hand reaching down behind his back. When I turned on my shower he froze, turned facing me in shock, and I watched a 10-inch dildo flop out of his butt and hang between his legs. He then proceeded to drop it and awkwardly try to kick it to the side so I wouldn't see it when he picked it up. I can't unsee it.
There is a 20-something very fit guy at my gym who works out extremely hard. Lots of weighted pull-ups, stuff on one leg, jumping rope, etc. I surmised that he was either into martial arts or obstacle course stuff. One day I'm on the treadmill looking out into the parking lot. I suddenly notice a small tree shaking violently. It's the guy, blindfolded, doing pull-ups on a tree limb. But the tree was really way too small so his feet were hitting the ground. It was a miracle he didn't bring the limb down. He took off the blindfold, looked very embarrassed, and casually walked back into the gym.
I go to the gym at lunch and my office is somewhat close to a good-sized university, so some of the college students also gym there since it's cheap and close. One day I was at the gym with a work buddy. We were alternating sets on the butterfly machine, which was right in front of a row of treadmills. There were a few folks on the treadmill, an older guy I'd say in his mid-50s and two college-aged women 2 treadmills away from the older guy. They're wearing t-shirts and shorts of the local college. The women are running pretty hard, doing some interval work. After a few sets, the woman closest to the old guy lifts her shirt to wipe her forehead sweat off. She's not wearing anything underneath said shirt. The older guy looks over and notices this and promptly stumbles on the treadmill and shoots backward onto the floor about 5 feet. I am in the middle of my rep when this all happens and I can't stop laughing. My gym buddy turns around at all the noise of the guy falling over. The 2 women immediately run to the bathroom giggling. I still wonder if this was all some kind of prank, or just an accident. Never saw those 2 at the gym again.
Not really weird, but this huge guy was weightlifting at the gym I frequent and he farted, and it was the longest fart I've ever heard. Like at least 30 seconds long. He couldn't stop giggling like a little girl, and then everyone else started laughing and clapping like he just performed a theater piece. It was surreal.
Skeleton of a man was psyching himself up for a 225-pound squat, deep breaths, loud grunting, and smelling salts included. Proceeded to get under the bar, squatted what seemed less than a half rep, more like a quarter rep with bad form, re-racked the weight, and proceeded to yell, "Fuck yeah," as if he was at a powerlifting meet. I think he had too much pre-workout IMHO, edit, because I'm getting harassed for being an asshole that was judging someone in the gym. Thanks for the PMs, death threats, random people. Note, I was not judging him. I just made an observation and thought about how he was super amped up. Honestly, respect to that dude for attempting to squat that weight. He could tone it down slightly, but props to him for the attempted squat.
I was doing bench presses, had no headphones on, and there were these 2 dudes talking about what kind of porn they like. You'd think they'd whisper this, but no, it was just casual talking. Then this one dude says he can't get it up naturally anymore, so he'd been experimenting with pills to see which one would work for him. I had to move to another bench after that.
A football team were training in the pool. As I approached it to swim laps, they began yelling out what they wanted to do to me. Gym staff immediately asked them to leave. When their coach apologized to me and asked me to ask gym staff to reconsider their decision, I wouldn't.
As a wise man once said, the gym has 2 types of people. Men 65 and older, and guys who cover their dicks. Maybe it's an age thing, but do not talk to me in a locker room. Frankly, don't talk to me at all, but especially in the locker room. If my dong is exposed to open air, that is not a time for a conversation about gas prices. Also, perhaps not weird, but definitely not expected. A few years ago I was super intense of going to the gym. I went 5 days a week, had a personal trainer, the whole deal. At one point, I was getting off the treadmill, and a guy stopped me saying he had seen me at the gym before and could notice a marked difference in my physique and that I was working out really well and shed a lot of weight in like 6 months. I thanked him, mentioned some things I did, and moved on. But I always remember the random compliment that made me keep going.
I like to go after lunch, so I skip the lunch crowd and it's enough time to work out before the after-work crowd rolls in. Usually it's just old folks and gym rats at that time, so it's great. There's this elderly man that wears khakis, a button-down shirt, and a sweater vest while working out.
A buddy of mine went up to a girl who had been hitting the Stairmaster pretty hard. She was really grinding and sweating, so what was his pickup line? "Hi. You're really wet." They got married, edit. Geez, this got popular. Now I have to tell him his story is literally the most popular comment I've ever made. He got the girl, I got the updudes.
I was asked if I worship the devil while getting changed one time. I have a tattoo between my shoulder blades the guy thought was satanic paired with my back hair. I just responded with "what a strange ass question." He then pivoted my necklace and asked if he could have it. He walked off after I said no, edit. This comment has as many upvotes as any piece of art I've ever posted here. I think I'm doing something wrong, ha 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 ha.
There's this guy that does interval training on the treadmill hilariously wrong. It looks like he's trying to imitate Roadrunner from Looney Tunes. Imagine someone upping the speed on the treadmill so much that they have to hold on to the railings to keep from flying off. That's how this guy sprints on the treadmill. The stride of his legs is ridiculous as well. His heels are legit halfway up his back on each stride.
I saw a dude get kicked out of a Planet Fitness for lighting up a cigarette.
There's a kid at the gym that always shows up with his mom. He's maybe 11 to 13. The mom is fine, the kid. Fucking unsettlingly weird. He always walks on the treadmill next to mom, but never walks forward. He walks sideways or backwards. But that's not the weird thing. He will lock eyes with anyone who looks at him and just stare. This goes on the entire time. I'm a dude and he'll stare at women or men, doesn't matter, so I don't think it's a puberty thing. It feels like a horror movie in there.
I went to the gym at 3 in the morning once. As I'm walking to the weights to do barbell curls, I notice a man prancing to one of the shoulder press machines. Not walking, prancing. He then steps on top of it and starts dancing on the machine for about 30 seconds and then does the workout. After this he starts skipping over to the dip machine, dancing around the whole thing before again doing the workout. Then he stands in the middle of the gym and starts shaking his ass to a tune. These dance moves went on for about 40 minutes. The kicker? There was no music playing in the gym and he had no headphones. I asked my buddy who worked there what this guy's deal was. I was told by him and a coworker that he refuses to look at people because he thinks they'll steal his soul through their eyes. He's a frequent at the gym and everybody usually just tries to stay away from him. Edit. Whoa, most upvoted comment by far. Thanks Reddit. Edit 2, thanks for the silver.
Climbed on a treadmill and started walking to warm up. I usually do intervals where I walk quickly for some time then jog then go back to walking. I'm the only one on a treadmill in a row of 8 in a pretty empty cardio section. Guy walks up and sets up right next to me, instead of any other treadmill, then he proceeds to try to race me, on the treadmill. I had my headphones in listening to music but I turned it off because I had to listen to this man start to grunt and then holler, curse. He's going full sprint, sweat streaming off of him, splashing the treadmill, splashing me, but he couldn't let me win. He had to beat me, petty revenge, but I stayed walking on that treadmill for much longer than I normally do. I like to think I helped him set a personal best. He didn't clean that treadmill after he staggered off too. Dirty bastard.
This fat guy who looks like Tony Soprano, but twice as hairy, is always in the changing room butt naked. No matter what time of day I go to the gym, he's there and naked. He just sits there, sweaty. Only time he puts a towel on is when he's in the sauna or sometimes the steam room. Because that's the rules. Anyway, one time I came to the gym kinda late. I finish a workout and go the steam room and he's in there chilling. I didn't recognize him at first because it's so steamed out. After a few minutes he strikes up a convo with me. He's Greek, owns a successful restaurant, semi-retired etc. Pretty cool guy. I didn't even realize he was butt naked until he got up to leave the steam room. He stopped to say one last thing before he left. His dick was head height at that point. I was sitting down. And it really wasn't chill.
Dude on the Stairmaster next to mine was listening to music using his phone speaker. His music was loud enough to drown out the music on the gym's PA system, and I could hear it even though I was wearing earphones. I asked him to turn it down. He ignored me. I told him he was being rude by making everyone around him listen to music they probably didn't want to hear, especially since the gym offered loaner headsets to people who forgot to bring their own. He suggested we step outside and settle it like men. I said, I've heard of fighting for your right to party, but I've never heard of fighting for your right to be an asshole. He didn't think it was as funny as I did, and despite my effort to lighten things up seemed to want even more to step outside. I declined, but said I would be willing to bring our disagreement to the gym staff and live with whatever decision they made on how to settle the dispute. All of a sudden he looked like he was about to cry. He apologized and said he had had a bad day. I said, no worries. I went back to exercising, and he left. Problem solved. I give him credit for apologizing. But it was fucking weird.
I go to the gym, put in my headphones, listen to metal, and disappear. It's my zone, my world, where I get to hurt myself in peace. 3 days ago I got drug out of my hurty place by a woman standing and waving in my face. Apparently, she thought I was starting at her and her sister. I wasn't even facing them. I told her I don't care that she exists and to go tell a manager. She began to insist I must be gay if I wasn't looking at her. I shrugged and put my headphones in and went back to work.
This massive roided out hulk of a person was doing bench press. He's just yelling the entire time he's putting up the weight. Something like that. Suddenly he racks the bar loud as can be and is screaming at his spotter. You ruined my whole set. You ruined my whole set. I was going till failure. He then walks over to the wall and puts both hands on the wall and shrieks in anger, like HNNNEEIGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGG had stopped to watch this unfold.
I used to go to the gym with my dad and I called him Dad while we were talking there, because, well, he's my dad. So this random woman comes to me in a very nasty and demeaning tone and says, "Why the hell do you keep calling that man Dad?" I was like, "Cause he's my dad." And she was like, "Yeah, but you don't have to call him that at the gym. It's weird." And I said, "Why is it weird? He is literally my father." And she was like, "Oh, okay," and left. I was the most confused I've ever been in my life, LMAO.
I'm a guy, some other dude kept staring at me and making me uncomfortable. And not staring sexually or just randomly side-eyeing. He would lift, and stare at me intensely while he lifted, like he was mean mugging or trying to intimidate me. Well, it worked. I felt violated and went to work out somewhere else in the gym. He wasn't even a big guy, just creepy.